love that.
Yeah, we could chat for a few.
If you, yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, oh my goodness, we are live. Let's make sure we're live on the. I love StreamYard because it's just so instantaneous. Like it doesn't give you any time to. It's like, whoa, we are here. Martha and I were just chatting away. Let me let me get everything updated here. Welcome, Martha. First of all,
Thank
Martha,
you. Thanks for having me.
thank you, first of all, for being here and spending your time to share with my community your skills. Just so thankful for that.
Well, I'm grateful that you're having me here. I enjoy you have an you have an you have an incredible community. Really, truly.
Aren't they amazing? I am
Yes.
so thankful. They're
Yes.
just amazing, amazing. So I was interested in the name. Like you talked about it's business grace, and I want to dive into that a little bit. But the streamlined planning for um, the busy entrepreneur,
Mhm.
the person that mompreneur. But before we get into um, finding out Martha's secrets, is I'd like to introduce her and just let you know more about Martha. She is a speaker, she's an author, she's a coach, and she inspires and equips women entrepreneurs to master technology. I mean, who else needs that? Like who can use a little technology mastery and improve productivity, empowering them to craft a unique personal brand and path to success with creativity and confidence with their busy lifestyle. Martha, I mean, as a busy grandmapreneur, and I mean, I've been a mom, I've been in that space,
Yeah.
or with just life. I mean, even before my great grandbabies lived with here, all
Hmm.
four of them, and mom and dad, and while they're building their house. Before that, I just felt like I was chasing my tail more often than not.
Yes.
So what you're doing, I just want to thank you for,
Mhm.
breaking down. I mean, there's not a lot of people that are willing to share the how to maneuver technology and plus being productive and how to and what you talked in our coffee chat and I really resonated with that. What you said was not every oops, sorry, it's gonna hurt myself. Um, the fact that when you said not one plan fits everyone. And so I'm going to turn the mic over to you
Okay.
and let you share. I kind of share what you do
Okay.
and how maybe some of your strategies for leveraging this technology, enhancing productivity, especially without getting overwhelmed.
Yeah. Overwhelm is like such a I feel like it's become this cliche word for all of us, right?
Uh-huh.
Like we
Yeah.
feel stressed, we feel like, oh my gosh, we have so much to do. So right away, whether we feel it or not, it's so quick to go to I'm overwhelmed versus thinking like, wait a second, am I overwhelmed? Or is there there's always a lot of things to do? And what if I use some different things, prioritize? Does this really need to be done now? Can it be done later? Like actually take a step back and analyze it and see like what do we really need to do about all this stuff? Is it something we need to do now? Is it something we can wait? Like I said, or whatnot. There's a lot of things that I feel that come up that if it comes into my head, I think, oh, you have to do this right now
Hmm.
versus putting it aside. So um I think more recently, even like I've been teaching, talking about productivity and planning and time management and all of this stuff. And I have like um, this routine I go through. I do it like monthly. Then I break it down and do it weekly for myself. So that way I can really know where I'm going and stay focused. And like those are some things that I want to share with people today too. However, what I like had this, I realized I've been doing it, but like one of the biggest things I just had this aha about over the last few weeks, even has been it's like having that North Star. Like the biggest, I think, game changer for me, like that's going to be coming, especially, is like having this North Star. Yes, we all work on our why. Like, why are we doing what we're doing, even with business, having these dreams and all of that type of thing. But like, what's that North Star for you? Meaning, we also hear a lot about what is your word of the year? What is your theme of the year?
Mm-hmm.
How do you want to feel this coming up year? So when you do things like that to set that for you, it's like setting an intention, right? So like for me this year, my intention is to soar. So like soar, so AR is my word of the year. But that's great. Like in my head, I have all this imagery for it. So it could be like an eagle, it could be flying, it could be like, that upward, propulsion, like moving forward on things. It's with my health, with like all these areas. But what really puts it in concrete for us and for our brain is to have that visual aid with it too. So making that visual design or something around it too, to kind of concrete it so you could put it on your phone. You can have it you can have it in the forefront for you to always know where you're going. And that's what helps me with those different areas of knowing what I need to be focusing on.
So what I'm gathering is you set this, it's like a North Star, that aim you're shooting for.
Yes.
And then you create an environment where it's always there to remind you.
Absolutely.
So that when you get those days you wake up and you're like, what the heck am I doing today? You may not know the step, but at least you know what you set for. And so it kind of redirects you.
Yes.
Am
absolutely.
I right?
Yeah, that's right. You took a lot of what I said and you made it very succinct for people. So thank you. But yes, because when we just like sit down to work willy-nilly, we don't know really what we're going to do. And then if people start pinging us and we start answering emails or messages and we're like, yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do that. And then it doesn't fit into our plan, then we are wasting a lot of time doing all these other things. So excuse me for a minute. Speaking of which, I have my little girl here.
I'm going to speak to this, right? So what I talked about in the coffee chat, and if you weren't there, you need to catch it. It's in the Social Media Marketing Made Simple group. But this is what attracted me to Martha. She has little ones that in a Zoom call randomly, they'll come in, get a hug from her. And she unashamedly was as mom, showed up as mom. And it kind of makes me emotional because I remember a day in business where that wasn't okay. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you were so openly and everyone was accepting of that, right? Mm-hmm. It just impressed me that knowing now all the work that you can get, you achieve, and having that constant flow of precious, gifts that come into you and say, Mom.
Yeah.
Oh no. Did it go away?
Oh, there you go. I didn't know if it was me or you.
I think it's me, which I'm not sure why, but I hope this isn't affecting anything. But anyway, you go ahead. I just was filling in the gaps.
No, thank you. Yeah, I think I really, that's the other thing. So, and it kind of goes into everything. So like whenever I start my planning, whenever I try to figure out whether it's for the month, for the week, for the day, I start everything with a brain dump. I just, so much stuff lives up in here in my head that I have to get it all out. So, I just write it all out. Just like I say, I take a pen and paper and get it out of my head. And then really, that's the biggest thing I do to help me get focus. And it could be things that I'm never going to get done this week. I'm never going to get done this month, maybe this year, right? But it may be something in my head of like a house project I need to do or something like that. So just really getting those things out. And then I look at like, what are my priorities for the month? Like, what do I need to get done? What are my work priorities? What are things that are happening no matter what? Like, what are those non-negotiables? The kids have activities. I have meetings I need to go to. I have clients. Like, what are those? And I make sure they're all there. And then I look at that brain dump and I think, what are my top two things that I absolutely have to get done? It's not saying I don't do the other things, but there has to be a priority. Is she too loud? So, okay.
I can hear her. Like I almost want to hear what she's saying. Is she singing?
She's talking about Paw Patrol and reading. She's reading a book behind me, like literally in my chair behind me. So it's,
well, this is just an example of what mom life is like. When we're trying, the thing is, you're continuing on. Let's go, right? We're going to continue on because this is just life. Yes. And you have a valuable message, and we want to hear it. So.
Yeah, well, and when we originally planned, I'm even I want to throw that, like, things change in a moment, right? For any of us, whether you're a mom or whoever you are, things change. And even today, I'm like, oh yeah, the kids, their first day back at school were good. And then I'm like, oh, they have a half day today. So like my other two kids are downstairs. They're working on a project thing. So, but it's just, you know, it's moving with the ebb and flow. And I think that's where I'm going all over Tanya. So, but that's where the business grace comes up, right? Is sometimes we have to kind of just give ourselves a little bit of ebb and flow. And when I also say that, as I'm talking about like the brain dump, the prioritizing the things, putting the things on our schedule that are those non-negotiables, and then filling in like time blocks of like, okay, during this time, this half hour, this is when I'm going to check my emails. And then, you know, like during this time, this is when I'm going to work on the admin part of my business. This is the time I'm going to do client work, whatever that is. So that way I can really, what happens is you're not jumping back and forth between tasks, because every time we do that, and I have been known to even still do that sometimes, we have to start back over again, and then we lose time, and then we have to remember where we were. Or even when I have maybe my little fun distractions here, if I know like I'm working through these emails right now, even if I stop, take an intentional moment to address what's happening and coming back, then I know I'm not trying to jump to a whole new thing again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So what you're saying is, what you will like do you set like a timer, or do you set, okay, I'm going to work on this so much. The kids are getting to a point where you probably know that. You probably know how long they can be maintained until, and so yes. From what I'm hearing, you set a certain amount of time, and I think that's very smart, even if you don't have distractions, because I think it's setting a timer and just focused work for a certain intentional time, and then taking that break. Yes. And in your case, and my case, because I have two littles in there that have no supervision. I have a 6-year-old helping me out with the 1-year-old, and I have the door open, so I get it. Right now it's just, I'm lucky. But
and sometimes that's how it is. It's like a luck of the draw. You have been on when I have had them like one after another running in, Mom, blah blah blah, she did this, I did that, and I'm like, okay. And where I used to be like, give me one more minute, just a few more, I just got to get this done. I have found I do better if I say, okay, count down from 10 for me, so I can take a note of where I am. I don't say this to them, but I ask them to count down to 10 slowly. This is most of the time, right? This is not about perfection, and I take a note of where I am, and then I go give them that 2 minutes sometimes they need, versus then the continuous coming in and out of the room, which is even more distracting, and I'm not getting anything done because I'm getting frustrated or mad. They're thinking that I don't I mean, I've had those words said to me. You don't care. You like work better than me, right? I mean, it's the guilt trips that we like to do, right? I'm not, but my why is my family. So I'm not saying I don't need to work. I'm not saying, but sometimes taking a minute, addressing what needs to be addressed, and getting right back into the realm of whatever I was working on is a lot better than me keep jumping back and forth.
Well, this is really good because what you've already said is that you hammer out those things you have to get done, whether it's family, we've heard, time blocking, but in your case, you were talking about doing that for your life and business.
Yeah.
And then what you said was, once you have that intention of that, what you have to get done, and yes, you may have more things you need to do, but if you get those core things finished, and that's it, at least you're going to be able to move your business forward. And what I want people to see that's watching this and to understand is Martha there's all this, right? This is, and it's a perfect example. I should all this. But what's so magical is that her strategies that she has not only applies to her business and life, but she shares with her clients work because she is productive. And you can't be that productive in your business and without some strategy to keep it all in order. And that's where you excel.
Well, thank you. Some days it doesn't seem like it, right? It is crazy. But this is the other key of what I do with my schedule is I also give myself wiggle room in my schedule. So let's say I do have, I don't keep it like, let's say my work time is from, I'm just throwing out, like, let's just say 8 to 1. I mean, it's longer most days, or sometimes I work night, but let's just say 8 to 1. I am not scheduled like 8 to 9. I mean, some days, but 8 to 9. And then, time blocking out, okay, emails for a half hour or 15 minutes, social media content for this long, client calls for this long. I make sure, especially if it's time when I have kids home, I schedule out time for those 10 minutes. So that way I have that little bit of extra cushion there. So if I do need to step aside and take care of something, I can come back and be like, oh, pause my timer. I still have, a few minutes left. I can work on this, and I come back and I can get it done versus thinking, oh, great, I just had to spend 10 minutes cleaning up a paint mess. I'm not going to be able to get this, and this done. So for me, it's really about that. So.
And it sounds like if I put myself in, hey, Deborah and Diane has both been on here. So hi. Hey. I know when you're in that position, it's like you always feel like you're chasing your tail in a sense. And I love how it's like okay, you're busy, you're working, and then, okay, it's time to take that break. And knowing that you're going to go to your children, or in some cases we have pets. Sometimes we have just, you got to call your mom. I mean, there's some things you just are expected to do during the day, and you can take that few minutes and feel accomplished in that realm. So instead of going, okay, I'm trying to get my work done, I'm trying to get my life done, and you just actually make it flow. And what I loved about what you said, and I don't know if we really addressed it today here, but we did in the coffee chat earlier, was that you said that it doesn't, and you kind of alluded to it, but not every strategy or scheduling process is going to work for every person. And I think that is what is so important for everyone to understand, because I know I've tried to put myself into plan out certain things, and there's some things that it doesn't feel good to me, to be honest. No. And so I love that you kind of gave that grace, which is that business grace.
Yeah. Well, and just because and sometimes here's the thing too, is we can have yes, I'm giving you ideas, and there's other people who give you, and there's all of these things. I'm like, wait, what do I do? And we can get in that overwhelm of all the different options. So I usually tell people, start with one thing and try it. Just try and see if it works for you. And if it doesn't, there could be something else that does. I mean, there's like little things like I know on a daily basis that I have tasks that I repeat every day, right? My morning routine is part of that, like making sure I get my morning routine in, um, uh, getting caught up on dishes, checking my emails. So, whatever those are, I have those in a little like notepad on my phone, or you could put it in like a Google Doc or a checklist, or even on Trello, or right there's different things. But sometimes when we feel super scattered or we're not sure where to begin, sometimes when you sit down and you look and you're like, okay, what are those things that I do on a daily basis or on a weekly basis or whatever that is? You can look at that list. And sometimes when you just get going and pick one to do, you're like, oh, well, let's go ahead and get that one done. Then, you start that momentum, and action creates more action. And
Yeah.
so getting that done, and that's where our brain starts moving more. That's when we're like, oh, that's right, I needed to do that. And that also goes into when I close my computer at night. And some days it's like, for me today, it's at 4 o'clock because I've got to go take my kids for after that. For Monday nights are like going all over the world tour for activities. But um, other nights it might be 10 o'clock at night, depending on my schedule. But whenever I do, the last thing I do every night is I think of what are the top 3 things I need to get done the next day.
Mm.
Like when I open up my computer, what are those things I need to do? And I have it on a sticky note, or I have it on like a little notepad, and I just have it right here so I can look at it and I can have that direction. So it's not always about like what we're doing. It's about taking those few 30 seconds sometimes to set ourselves up for success. So that way we're not just looking. I mean, I do it sometimes too. If I forget to do that, I sit there and I'm like, okay, I need to do this, but this sounds more fun to do. Let's do this instead of this. Right. So,
Yeah. Deborah
well,
Henry says action creates more action. She loved that.
oh, good.
Uh, uh, and then there's been some comments in here. Patty says
Oh,
hello.
okay.
Uh, yeah, there's some good, and then there's great advice.
Okay.
So
I'm sorry. Can I
yeah,
interject one thing
yeah,
too?
go
Yes.
ahead.
The other thing with the action thing is it's intentional action.
Oh, yeah.
Intentional, because I mean, I could go, be like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm going to sit down and write out all my content for an entire year. Well, some people can do that, and that's great. Here's an example. That does not work for me. I need to keep it tighter into more of like a 3-month span, and then sometimes even into like a 6-week span of, okay, what am I doing here? All right, let's work on this part. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's that intentional action. So I just wanted to be like, I'm not talking about just like running circles. I'm talking about like, let's move that needle forward. So yeah.
Well, and that, there's such thing as what we talked about in coffee chat, I would
Mhm.
talk about the law of action. There's
Yes.
action that you're afraid to take, right? Because
Mhm.
we're perfectionism. But that's different, I think, from what you're saying. You're saying get that intentional action, start taking it
Mhm.
instead of going, okay, I'm going to get in action. I'm going to sit here and create Canva graphics because I think that's easy, right? I've
Mhm.
been guilty. Like I'm supposed to be writing an email and doing this and this, and I'm sit down and I get in creation mode and I can spend hours and it's fun, but it's not productive unless I'm
No.
actually creating graphics to use in my business. Most of the time
Uh-huh.
it's graphics that I'm creating and I throw away because they're really not anything I'm going to use.
Yeah. Yes, I can do that too. It's easy to do that, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't also put some time on your schedule to do that kind of stuff.
Ah, allow
Right?
this.
Like if that is something that brings your heart joy, like, and those are the things to make sure that when you are doing your planning, like Do you have self-care on there? And I don't just mean like, yes, we should be working out. Yes, we should, having um having movement in every day and stuff, but even things that are a little bit more special, even if it's a 5 minute, like just a quiet time for yourself. Especially if you are someone like I do, I'm behind the computer screen most of the day. If I'm not behind the computer, even when I am running around with my kids, I still have my computer that goes with me and I can still work from there while I'm waiting or stuff like that. So, do we have time where we're shutting down for a little bit of ourselves, even if it's just a few minutes a day? Like, make sure you put that in there, because if I don't put that on my schedule, it doesn't happen. I
Mm-hmm.
can just work right through it.
Well, and it's just like you talk about a morning routine. If that was it,
Mhm.
if you could just get that, I know that when I don't set the intention to do my morning routine
Mhm.
and I get up and I pick this up, my phone up, and I go, I start. I mean, I wake up. My morning routine is one of the things I used to. Still do, but it used to be my only routine was I think
Mhm.
of 3 things to be grateful for. So I still do that. And then I sit there, and because I'm grateful for things, it brings on thoughts. And then I want to get started and I get excited and I want to, or I read an email or I see a post. I'm like, oh, this is good. I want to blah, 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 blah. And then before you know it, I haven't walked my outside in nature that really fuels me. I haven't sat there and spent time on my Bible study or just, being at quiet in his presence and being
Mhm.
fed. Like I don't do that. So then after a few days of not doing that, I wonder, why am I feeling so anxious and kind of cruddy? Like why? And then I realize,
And it's easy. Like, those distractions are coming in all areas for us. And if like, I tell people, like, put the like, if like going through Facebook and catching up on things is part of what you want to do, put that scrolling time on your calendar. That way you can be like, yep, I'm going to take 15 minutes. Maybe one day you're going to do a half hour and I'm just going to give myself some time and just scroll. But that's where you have to set. I have to set timers for myself on that. Otherwise I'd be like, nah. Oh, an hour's gone by watching TikTok videos. What? Right. So it's easy to get distracted. And that's where even having a list of what are some of those distractions that come up for you helps, because then you could turn around and think, how can I either eliminate or, or change it so I don't have the distraction? If it's in the morning, maybe not having your phone right by you. I used to, like, I have my phone in sleep mode starting at 10 p.m. every night. Um, and then I used to have it go ahead and open back up at 7 a.m. because I was up anyway and getting kids ready. And I'm like, what am I doing? Because then I will get lost in all the, I mean, I can still check them, but I have found I don't have my phone come on till 8:30, and it has helped me be more intentional with my morning time for that too. And yeah, social media has to have set times.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing I have to do. And otherwise, it's so like, last night, I had something I had to have it done by midnight last night. Like, there was no question. It had to be done. And all day long, I was at I had the best of intentions. I was going to work on it while I was at my son's wrestling tournament for 8 hours. But I also had the girls with me, and I had, it just didn't happen. I knew it wasn't going to happen, but I kid myself, right? It's
We all do.
like, oh, I'll get it. Oh, there's plenty of downtime. He only wrestles 3 matches and they're only 5 minutes each. There's plenty of time, but there's not, because I have the kids with me that time. Anyway, but it was very easy to be like, oh, I need to check my Pinterest thing. How are those doing? Oh, like, my head starts to bounce like a ping pong ball. Oh, I need to get that grocery order in. So I have my notebook with me a lot, and I call it my parking lot. And when something like that pops into my head, I write it down, because it seems like sometimes when I am working, and then even sometimes in the groove of working, I get these little thoughts by, oh, don't forget you need to make the graphics for this. Oh, don't forget you said you would do this. So I just write it down and like let it sit there, and then I can go through and prioritize that into, maybe all the list of all the other things I need to get done, or try to figure out if that works out. And I think that where that's helpful too is just because it might pop into my head that I need to rearrange my living room doesn't mean I have to do it now. So if I know it's something I want to do, I might just write it down and just be like, all right, when can I schedule it? Oh, I can schedule that in March. Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying though.
Yeah, I get
That's
it.
more of an impulse thing that I would do, quite honestly, would be like, oh, I'm sick of this living room. I got to move it around. But you know what I mean? Even if it's
Yeah.
a business idea,
Yeah.
sometimes if it doesn't
Well,
fit into what you've already scheduled and you have a plan moving forward, and that's taking you closer to what that North Star is for you, see where that thing can fit in, because even if it's not this year, maybe it's next year for you.
oh, wow.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
I love the idea that the brain dump. I think you had mentioned that. I'd heard had encouraged some people to do that, and I was like, I'm going to try that, and it really is powerful because
Yeah.
all that crap sits up in your head and it's just going
Mhm.
everywhere. And once I got everything out, it was like it was like a relief.
Yeah.
And so when I find that coming back, where that that clutter, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, I find that if I might not have time or the moment to just spill it all out, but I like what you said, just taking a couple of notes, because I will get in that. I'll wake up in the morning and go, I got to do this and this and this. And then I can sit down at my
Mhm.
computer and go, what was that?
Mhm.
You know? And
Yeah.
so just having that place to write it real quick so that when you do go, what was it I was going to do? You got it right there.
And I have a notebook and pen on my bed table too.
Yeah.
Like my bedside table, because at night that's when too. So that's another time. Like, and it's aside from my journal, because I have like my journal there, but I will write like anything that's filling up, like, oh gosh, I need to do that. And then the next morning, if I wait, same thing. The other thing they have, which is amazing on Amazon, because some of my best ideas come in the shower, is they have a waterproof paper and pencil pad thing.
What?
It's amazing. I can share a link for it. It's so,
Yeah.
I love it,
Yeah.
because then I have it right there. I can write it down, and then I'm not forgetting stuff, because I
Yeah.
am constantly doing that.
Yeah, if you're wanting that link, make sure you let us know, because make
Yeah,
sure we don't
I
forget.
will.
Say, yeah, well, and if you're listening and go, yeah, I want something right in the shower, because I mean, how many times do you have a thought that comes and you're in a
Mhm.
spot where you can't write, or even doing dishes at the sink? I mean,
Yes.
it's just so Martha, I want to kind of wrap this up. We're getting
Yes.
into the half hour and a little past, but oh my gosh, this has been so good. So if someone's like, I need help, Martha, how do you help people? Share that with us.
Well, one thing I want to do is I do want to offer, I have a little freebie that I am happy to offer everyone up right now too. It is a productivity bundle, and it includes it has like my list of like my top 7 tools that can help you with, like, whether it's time management, just help start to streamline certain things for you. It has my top 4 principles for productivity. And then it also has my proprietary, it's a weekly productivity planner, and it has a space to do a brain dump every week. And it has a place for you to put your top priorities and
Wow.
your distractions, and like, what are those things that get you moving to be more productive. And then it also has some morning routine ideas too. And that's just at successwithmartha.com. And you can like just get in there, and I have all the downloads right in there for you too.
And I can drop
Um,
the link
okay.
in the deal, or if you want to but I also want to say something to that.
Yes.
When you talk about the tools, anyone can come up with a list of tools. Like, it's just and there's nothing wrong with that. But
Mhm.
Martha her tool she's tried and tested. And the thing is, I consider Martha a technology geek or guru, whatever, because every time I mention something to her, she goes, "Oh yeah, I've tried that and she's tested it and she has feedback to give me." It's just amazing. So if you want to if you're going to put your hands in someone that knows the tools that work, especially for this type of thing and productivity. And then I can't wait. I want that brain dump. I want that. I like a place to write things like that. So
me too.
That sounds really good.
Awesome. And you can print it out. It's not, you can't do it on, but for brain dumps, you should be doing pen and paper. Like, absolutely. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. I mean, just the power of writing with your pen and paper. Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, show Martha some love if you're still on here. Throw some hearts out here. Let her know how much we appreciate her. Because she's taken time out of her family to, kids are out of school right now. And so the fact that she was willing to spend this time with us is very valuable, and we appreciate her so much. So thank you, Martha. And we'll make sure we'll put that link in the comments. I'll try to do it right now, but I feel like everything's, I want to focus on you, and then we'll do that. People are saying, thank you. Excellent. It's been great. Now, Martha, before we go, I know you have that planner and those resources, productivity bundle, but you also have some stuff going on in your group. So there's some trainings or things like that. So if you want to have more of Martha, her group she's got some great things planned this month. So we'll get that link to jump in her group and be able to get access to that.
We will. And Tanya, even like tomorrow, I'm running that visibility mapping workshop too, where it's going to help you to like map out your 2024, but we're doing a little bit different, but we are going to take that like vision board action with it, but we're going to start off a little bit different than what we're used to.
Yay. So what time is it?
Yeah, that is a great question. I don't know why I'm mind blanking on that. Give me 2 seconds. I am so sorry.
There it is. Successwithmartha.com. Thank you.
It's in my group, which is Busy Moms and Business Solutions. I had it in my head and then I got so sidetracked. See, it's easy to get sidetracked. It is at 10:30 a.m. Eastern.
10:30 a.m. Eastern. So that would be 9:30 Central.
Yes.
So that is going to be exactly 30 minutes. I do a training in here, live training. And right after that, just jump in her group, because what I'm going to be covering tomorrow, for those of you that are in the Social Media Marketing Made Simple and Fun group, because some of this is going somewhere else. It will be tomorrow. We are going to be covering, y'all have to look because I don't even remember my brain. I get it.
That makes me feel better. See, like.
So I'm going to talk tomorrow about the most engaging content for 2024. So that is the topic for tomorrow. And so jump in here at 9 Central, 10 Eastern, and then I won't be long. It's going to be short and sweet. And then remind me, Martha, I'll just remind people to do that tomorrow. Say, hey, jump in her group.
Perfect.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. Love you, Martha. Thank you so much.
You
and everyone for showing her the love. I love this. And we appreciate you taking your time to come in here and give us tremendous value. See y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.